So it's going on 6 years since the iPad mini 5th generation came out, and sure, there's newer versions of the iPad mini, but I think most people would be surprised at the performance of this older, smaller iPad. But is it still worth it in 2025? Well, let's talk about it. The price of this iPad has went down lower than $200, at least for the renewed version. Probably is going to be hard to find this brand new anymore, but there's really only a couple small tablet options in this price range for Android, so not a lot of competition. The 64 gigabytes of storage for the base model is pretty low for 2025, considering the newer iPads are starting at 128 gigabytes now, but you can also get a 256 gigabyte version. There's also a cellular version as well. I know some people don't like the bigger bezels on the top and bottom, but the build quality actually still looks and feels pretty nice even in 2025. One thing I do like about this style is how they have the fingerprint scanner or Touch ID right on the front. Plus it works as the home button as well. It's got an IPS LCD display at 7.9 inches, 2048 by 1536 resolution, up to 500 nits brightness, and that's going to beat just about every other small Android tablet, even in 2025 so far. The overall size is pretty similar to the newer iPad mini 6. They just got rid of the bezels to make the screen larger on the iPad mini 6 and 7. I feel like the larger bezels makes things a little smaller when watching YouTube videos or streaming stuff. You can zoom in some, so that helps after some software updates, so that's nice, but it's probably going to depend on which streaming app you're using. You can also watch YouTube videos at up to 4K resolution as well. I think the screen quality still holds up pretty good when watching movies or shows and playing games, even in 2025. Now, of course, there's a lot of variables when it comes to battery life. This one lasted about the same as most other iPads that I've tested, which is right about 5.5 hours, and that's at full screen brightness, but it should have plenty of power to last a couple days with the mixed use, even longer if you turn the screen brightness down. It's got 3 gigabytes of RAM and the A12 Bionic chip, which is not going to compete against the newer iPad mini 6 or 7, as you can see by the Geekbench scores. But if you compare this to more affordable Android tablets, it's going to be more powerful than most small tablets. It also has pretty good graphics and frame rates when playing games like PUBG Mobile and Asphalt Legends Unite. I still feel like this size of tablet or iPad is one of the best sizes for gaming. It just makes it a little easier to reach things on the screen and is just more comfortable when playing games. Now, when it comes to software, here we are at 6 years later, and this is still getting the latest iPadOS 18.5 as of this video. I know there's some flagship Android tablets that still don't get that many updates until here recently. This is also one of the last iPads where you can hold the power button to power it off. I still don't know if I agree with having to push 2 buttons at the same time to power most things on and off now. The one downside is if you look at which iPads are compatible with the iPadOS 18, the iPad mini 5 is at the bottom of the list, which means it could be one of the next iPads to drop off the list for the next version. We'll have to wait and see. You can also use the first gen Apple Pencil, which is nice if you want to draw, take notes, or just moving around the software. And that's something you don't always get with more affordable tablets at any size. Another downside to the iPad mini 5 is it still uses the older Lightning port instead of USB-C like the newer iPad mini 6 and 7. So it can make things a little bit trickier to get files off of or to use an external drive. At least if you have a Mac, you can still use AirDrop to copy over large files. So that's definitely nice to have. Nice thing is you still have a headphone jack on this iPad. And yeah, the speakers being just on one side or the bottom isn't going to have the best sound out there, but it's definitely louder than you would expect for a smaller tablet like this. But here's a quick sample just to give you an idea of what it sounds like.
As you fade
Now if you compare the cameras on this to the iPad mini 6 and 7, it's just not quite as good. I mean, it's decent for an older tablet, but you can only shoot up to 1080p resolution instead of 4K. I think you could still use this if you have good lighting for FaceTime, Zoom meetings, or other video conference calls. But here's a few quick samples just to give you an idea of what to expect from the iPad mini 5th generation. So as you can see, there's still a lot of good things going for the iPad mini 5, even in 2025. One reason you may not want to get this is we don't know how much longer it's going to get software updates, but it does have good performance, still has pretty good screen quality. It has pretty much everything you would need for a smaller tablet, so it could be a good option for some people. For me, I think I would probably look at the iPad mini 6, which you should be able to get for quite a bit cheaper, which is going to have longer software updates. It may just come down to personal preference and what's more important to you. But if you like tablets, phones, and other tech, I've got a lot more stuff that I'm working on as usual, so you'll want to keep an eye out for those upcoming videos.
So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.